Mm-hmm.
Thank you for making the effort.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the most influential urban conservative talk show in the world. It is the Exception Conservative Show, and we are live from Washington, D.C. We're not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the socialist. So glad to have you here on a very, very big night. The biggest night in our history, because we have some very major superstars with us tonight. And the majority of them are coming to Washington, D.C. for a major event. What do Motown's Martha Reeves, Gesundheit Institute's Dr. Hunter Doherty Patch Adams, Wolf Clan's Joanne Shenandoah, Stuart Weeks, the founder of the Center for American Studies at Concord, Howie Comen of the Comen Detective Agency, and Bishop John Bulinda have in common? Election Eve Song Circles on November 7th, 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring some peace to all the unrest of this election season, and as well put some light on some issues that need to be dealt with in America. I am so glad to have you all here with me tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, want to also thank Mary Brockman, my bouncer in the chat room at the Euro Pacific Bank Limited TECS chat room. Thank you for holding down the fort. If you diss her, you diss me, you will be dismissed. Dave Milner, the unpleasant blind guy, is in there as well, and other people are forming in the line. This might be the most listened to show we've ever had. Why? Because, well, not just because of me, but we have some wonderful people. Dr. Patch Adams with us, Martha Reeves, Joanne Shenandoah, Stuart Weeks, Bishop John. I'm telling you, this is huge. And it's all for a great cause. We would like for you all to be here in Washington, D.C. on Monday, November the 7th at 6 p.m., right in front of the White House. And we're going to give you all the details as to why. But for those of you who are tuning in and coming in live right now, piling into the chat room, we know how we roll. This is how we do it, peeps. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America. Take off your caps if you're wearing them, or whatever you have on your head. And then we got this beautiful piece of wood with lots of words on it, and they all belong to the pledge. So get used to it. There you go. And after we do this Pledge of Allegiance, we're going to give you one of the best shows we've ever had, ladies and gentlemen. Put your right hand over your heart and let's pledge allegiance to the United States of America. Here it goes. Take it away, kids.
Parents, ready, begin.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Woo! All right, kids. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to some, present to others some of the great, some of the greatest people on the face of the earth. In fact, I want to introduce first to you Stuart Weeks. He is the founder of the Center for American Studies. Stuart, what is Election Song all about, and how have we amassed all this great talent with us tonight?
Well, thank you, Ken. And I think we all are called to pledge allegiance to the true spirit of our land, even when there appears to be overshadowed and darkened, that we remember those who've gone before and who've grasped that spirit and who've fought for it, even when they have raised questions and concerns We always, I think, need to call that to mind. So the election eve song circles, their purpose is in these times that are very disharmonious. We're facing one of the most decisive and divisive elections in history, to lift up our voices in harmony together. And in fact, today I cast my vote in Concord, Massachusetts, the first non-native inland community in this country, and the first community to call for a government of, by, and for the people. I cast my vote for We the People, for president, a write-in campaign. So these elements are weaving together, but the song circles are inspired by Joanne Shenandoah, who's with us, and by the Iroquois Confederation, and really two things. Number one, and Joanne can go into this at more length, that in my understanding, among the Iroquois, the mothers and grandmothers would watch the little children at play, the boys, I should say, to begin with, at play, at work, in their relations, and look for who were the peacemakers. It didn't mean to spurn the others, but who were the peacemakers? Because they knew they needed leaders who were peacemakers.
Exactly.
And so those boys, they would see those young boys who had that gift, and they would raise them to be the leaders. And again, Joanne can go into more length. And so many of the song circles, and there are well over 100 across the country, and Patch is prepared to bring an olive branch to President Putin in Russia, so they're also spreading overseas. That's one of the inspirations of the gathering, and many of them around city halls, town halls, for those who can journey further around state capitals, for those who can journey further around the U.S. Capitol and the White House, to sing these songs of healing and renewal where our leaders gather.
Awesome.
Number one, and these will begin with great-grandmothers, grandmothers, mothers, daughters, granddaughters, and great-granddaughters, not to exclude men, but we see this preeminently as song circles of women. And then the other inspiration behind this, and Joanne can go into this, was a song circle of healing and renewal that helped to redeem the evil wizard Tadadaho in the story of the peacemaker, who was casting a spell over the land, and it was the power of song, pure song, and music that redeemed this fallen figure. So I hope, Ken, that offers a little bit of a glimpse. We're in well over 100 communities around the country and overseas as well.
Exactly. This is what it's all about, in the sense of healing and renewal. And a man who understands healing and renewal like no one else, and I'm so honored to have the opportunity to introduce him to our program, is none other than Patch Adams, Dr. Hunter Doherty Patch Adams of Gesundheit Institute. Good evening, sir. Glad that you are with us. You're talking about extending an olive branch to Russia. How did you come about that?
I first visited Russia with my community in 1974. And as a peace worker all of my life, basic peace work is to love your enemies. And I know I have no enemies. I've never had any enemies. There are ideas that I feel are enemies, but no people. And then in 1985, when I started our clown trips, it was the Reagan years, and so there was a lot of dislike and concern for the Russian people, and so we started our first clown trip, and every November since, for 2 weeks, we take up to 40 people to clown 10 or more hours a day in orphanages, prisons, and nursing homes, and institutions, etc. on the street. Nobody is safe, and 24 years ago, we were so unhappy with the way orphans were cared for that we connected with the great Russian women, particularly Maria Ilyasheva, who started Maria's Children there and now is caring for 600 orphans.
Wow. Many Americans look upon Russia right now with some disdain because we have politicians who are blaming them for hacking into their computers and altering elections. Uh, a lot of people don't understand that there's so much more to our relationships with Russia, including that relationship through Gesundheit Institute. What will that olive branch do on election eve?
Well, I wouldn't presume. I mean, I think we're even questioning whether or not I can carry it on an airplane with the way they are about plants. But it's a gesture. I know myself. I can't say I represent this country, but I do represent humanity. I'm probably more of a John Lennon person than anything else, imagining no countries where it's time for us to have peace on earth. There's never been peace on earth, and I am a war orphan myself, and I have that romantic notion that we would be a very different world if love were our currency and not money.
Yeah.
Amen.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Dr. Adams, I want you, because I know that you got to go, but if you can give in your final words to everyone what you want them to do on November the 7th, and how will that impact the world?
Well, I think, again, I don't presume to have any idea how what we can do on one day can impact the world. I can say this in my recommending wherever I go all over the world for people to live radiant and to live kind and loving outwardly, but I know by doing that myself, it always affects every environment. And when people feel despair and don't feel that there's anything they can do in their messed up world, you can certainly let them know if you are radiant in all of your actions and days, then every single environment you go to will be moved by it.
That is so true. Dr. Adams, thank you so much for spending your time with us this evening and encouraging everyone to participate in the election eve song circles. And God bless your opportunity in Russia. I pray that it's successful.
And Ken, if I can jump in quickly, that's just the point. We contacted Putin's office this morning. We've sent an email. We mentioned that Patch Adams, this isn't just a publicity stunt. He's been going to Russia. It'll soon be 33 years. They take care of over 600 orphanages. Patch travels 366 days a year, and in his 70s, he's alive and kicking.
Yep.
And so we said that he was going to go there as a citizen diplomat, which is what he is. He's a folk hero around the world. And to extend on behalf of all peace-loving Americans this olive branch to Putin and to all peace-loving Russians. And we're trusting the same thing will happen in America with a Russian Patch Adams. And we're in the process of identifying that individual who will extend an olive branch on behalf of all peace-loving Russians to President Obama and all peace-loving Americans. So your point about prayers, Ken, was beautiful. We'd ask everybody who's listening to hold this in their prayers. I think if Putin can meet Patch, and I know Patch, that it'll be an epiphany, and it'll be a day we will all long remember.
Indeed, we most certainly will. Thank you so much for being with us this evening, Dr. Adams. Ladies and gentlemen, what do Motown's Martha Reeves, Gesundheit Institute's Dr. Hunter Doherty Patch Adams, Wolf Clan's Joanne Shenandoah, Stuart Weeks, Dr. Patch Adams, I mean, and Bishop John Bulinda, what do they all have in common? Well, on election eve, many of them will be here in Washington, D.C., November the 7th, and they will be leading our community in an expression of healing and renewal necessary for the sanctification of this country, as we have gone through one of the most nasty election cycles in American history. I want to introduce to some, present to others, one of the world's most renowned artists, singer, former council member for Detroit City, and just an overall wonderful human being, Martha Reeves. Good evening, Miss Reeves. It's a pleasure to have you on the Exceptional Conservative Show.
Good evening, King. Ken, what a pleasure.
Listen, you got DC excited.
I'm excited about DC. I love DC. That's one of the first places I was a member of the Motown Review, one of the first theaters that welcomed us as a group from Hitler, USA, here in Detroit, and brought the Motown sound to Washington, and we used some of Howard University's musicians to enhance our band, and we formed a union that has lasted all these years, since 1962. So I love Washington, D.C., and I love the idea that we're going to be there and singing with the nation peaceful songs about our heritage and songs about our pride of being Americans.
Now, a lot of people would say, wait a minute, Martha Reeves, why are you coming to Washington, D.C. To bring peace? I mean, you don't have to do this. I mean, you're Martha Reeves. I mean, but what?
I've been to the White House on 2 occasions. I was there with President and First Lady Clinton, who will be our First Lady in a minute. And I was also there with President Obama and his wonderful wife, Michelle. So it's a second home to me. And the Howard Theater will always have a place in my heart.
Exactly. So why are you coming to Washington for the election eve song circles? What motivated you to say that this would be something that would not only impact you but impact others?
After speaking to Dr. Weeks, I had a need in my mind and my heart to express the fact that I'm proud of being an American.
Yeah.
From a very early age, I was told to go back to Africa, and I didn't know quite how to understand that because I haven't been to Africa yet. I've been to Cairo, Egypt, but I've never been to Africa proper, and neither have my parents. And I wanted to know, why can't I feel the pride of being born here in Eufaula, Alabama, and be an American? I've seen the civil rights movement, and I've gone through a lot of exercises to prove that we're all equal and we all have a right to the tree of life. And that's one of my motivations for coming to Washington, D.C., and I'm honored to be asked to join the lovely host of women. Being a great-grandmother, I feel that I'm right at home in this circle.
Well, you certainly are. You are the Motown's mother of Motown. You are certainly one inspiration for millions of people around the world. What is the
and
one?
Can I just say, too, that I called Martha out of the blue. Martha didn't know me from Adam. Furthermore, as one can probably tell from my accent, I'm a white man, but her graciousness, she could have referred me to her agents, she could have referred me to the organization, but she's been repeatedly throughout, as we've been pulling this together, in these last weeks, she's been supportive, she's been interested, she's been incredibly gracious.
I know.
I think we're very, very fortunate to have her and Joanne, Shenandoah, and others with us.
Exactly. This is very humbling because, again, Joanne Shenandoah, Patch Adams, Martha Reeves, I mean, these individuals don't have to do this, and many of them are sacrificing to make this effort. When you speak to others about this particular event, Ms. Reeves, what is their reaction to you?
They all want to come with me.
All right!
I can't bring them all. They all want to be a part of it because it's time to express our citizenship. It's time to express our pride. It's time to take our place in this world and recognize the fact that we come from a long, long heritage, and it's one of pride. I have always felt that there was something royal about the talent that I prayed for and God gave me. It's a special way of sending a message of love and experiencing emotions through the spirit. And I'm glad to be one that has been called out.
What is the power of music? You've been a part of Motown, Arista, and so many other recording.
Universal, everywhere, all over. Yes.
Yeah.
About 60 years.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like yesterday. How powerful is music in terms of conveying not only peace, but a message of healing and renewal?
My mind is kind of set on my great-grandbaby's birthday party. He was born on Halloween Eve. We had a party for him, and at 1 year old, he was up in the floor dancing to a Bruno Mars song.
Oh my goodness! That's awesome!
Music reaches you in the womb, I guess. It's something that stirs the soul, and you gotta have it. You gotta have music. As I read my Bible, I find out that the processions in the early days were led by the musicians and singers.
Yeah.
David called on his playing of the harp to soothe a man named Saul. I mean, there's a lot of history about music, and I'm so glad that when my mom and dad raised all 12 of us, they would sing to us, because we were the generation prior to television, I'll put it that way. We entertained each other.
Exactly.
My grandfather being a Methodist minister, we were the choir. All 12 of us sang, and 11 of us sang in our grandfather's church choir. So music has put a place in my heart that I guess I can express it to other people, how much I love being a part of music and love the fact that God blessed me as I prayed.
Oh, well, you blessed us from Jimmy Mack, dancing in the streets. I mean, just your. I want to say this to you because when I look at the songstresses of this day, the elegance, the professionalism, the maturity, the pride that you exuded, you and the Vandellas and the Supremes and Gladys Knight, Aretha Franklin, you all exuded such pride that when people looked at you, they wanted to be you. Now they look at Beyonce and they're like, I don't know. You understand what I'm saying?
But they're taking baseball bats and knocking out car windows.
Yes! My God!
No. Don't forget the Marvelettes. They made a record called Wait a Minute, Mr. Postman.
Yes!
Oh, yeah, Mr. Postman. And that was an answer to the Korean and Vietnam War. Because everybody was looking for males.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Mack, when are you coming back? He went to the Korean War, but they wouldn't release the record until the Vietnam War because they were so close together. And that music helped soothe the souls of those who had lost loved ones in our battles and had gone to serve the country. Our young men and our young women giving their lives to make us free. So there's a lot of pride in our music. And Berry Gordy Jr. thought that we were talented and got us all instructors. We were taught, like no other record company at the History USA. We had music theory. Of course, you need that. You need to know what notes you're singing. And we were taught choreography from vaudeville so that we don't have to twerk, or what do you call that?
Exactly.
We dance with our feet the way our masters and our generation has always danced. And we were taught to be polite because we're the first generation. After we were allowed in restaurants to sit at the counter with others that were patrons, we had to know how to conduct ourselves and how to be publicly accepted and socially accepted. So I know that History USA has got to be the greatest record company in the world. Motown Records, the sound has got to be the sound of the world now. It was proclaimed to be the sound of young America, but I think it's the sound of the world. And I'll always be grateful to people like William Smokey Robinson, who wrote all those prolific songs about, I mean, he wrote My Girl and My Guy and a bunch of other songs all about love. And that was Berry Gordy's thing. He wanted to spread love with his music, with our music. And over 30 acts were made famous at Motown Records. So I'm really proud and honored to be with this group of circles, singers, and will be present there wholeheartedly to sing all the patriotic songs I can muster.
Well, I tell you what, when I greet you at the airport, forgive me if I'm the one who sounds like a little girl screaming.
Okay, I'm glad to know that.
Don't tell my mom and dad, you know. It's a joke.
We'll take pictures to show them.
Oh my God, don't do that.
Well, I should jump in and say, Martha, Ken confessed in an earlier conversation that his parents were strong fans of yours, and he grew up hearing about Martha Reeves. So it made a dream come true for Ken to pick you up at the airport. And also Barbara Morrison, I believe, of the Supremes is coming in inspired by Martha as well.
And this is just going to be
It'll be
completely.
good to see Barbara again. She left the Supremes the minute they got famous. And I did see her again as a solo artist in Los Angeles maybe about 4 years ago. So I'll be glad and happy to see Barbara Morrison.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, some people in the chat room say Ken sounds very excited. I'm with my heroes tonight and heroines tonight. We're talking with Dr. Patch Adam earlier. We've been speaking with Stuart Weeks, Martha Reeves, Miss Motown herself, who will be joined by Barbara Simmons from the Supremes. But I want to introduce to everyone a young woman who is a Grammy Award-winning artist with an honorary doctorate of music from Syracuse University, whose album, Sacred Ground, a tribute to Mother Earth, not only received commercial success, but was renowned amongst artists as a premier tool of music. For some, you know her as Joanne. For others, you know her as Joanne Shenandoah, singer, guitarist, author. It's a pleasure, honor to have you on the air with us tonight.
Thank you so much, and so eloquently and beautifully said, Martha. I loved your words. They really resonate with me. It's music that I've always loved from Motown. Smokey came to one of my shows one evening, and after the show, he just kissed me on the hand. He was a wonderful person, and I tell you what, the world is full of them, and that's our focus tonight. Is the world can come together. We can stand together, irrespective of our race, religion, or our age, and we can stand up and be counted. Because in the Iroquois way, we do not separate politics from religion, from music to dance. Our life is very beautiful in the sense that we still maintain our culture this day as we speak. There are busloads of people going out to North Dakota to stand in solidarity with those that are protecting the water rights of the Dakota people. It's all over the news. And, you know, what happens here on election eve is also very important to people all over the world. We're being, I would say, questioned at this moment in time to use our voices to stand up together in song and in peace and harmony. Music is power. And you asked Martha that question, and I was like, yes, what a beautiful question, because in the Iroquois way, it's the music of the women, and there are over several hundred songs in honor to women alone. We are a matriarchal society. It's the women called the clan mothers, the older women of the nation. My mom was a clan mother. And we're responsible for the political, social, and spiritual welfare of people. A beautiful, beautiful symbol. The music is to celebrate life and celebrate one another. Our music is so powerful that there are songs that actually can quicken your death, songs that make the plants grow, songs to bring new babies into the world. And every single ceremony of the 13 moons that we see every month, and our beautiful grandmother moon is a female nature because she helps the plants and medicines grow. She controls the ocean tides, and she also controls the cycles of life. So here we are, standing together as one. And one evening on the 7th, coming up next week, will be very, very fine in that we want to invite everyone in solidarity, in peace, to put aside our concerns, our fears, our worries of the world, and sing and lift our hearts together as one, to bring up the energy level and also the ideas that we've all been so eloquently speaking of this evening on how we feel, what we want to provide our youth is of extreme importance right now. Because working with Attorney General Eric Holder for one whole year prior to this, I realized that our children, you're right, Martha, they're listening to music that actually instills violence. And our children are getting accustomed to that. It's like, it's not necessary. It's really something that kind of surprises me. When music was really, you sat around together in the evenings and you just sang your heart out. Yeah. And you learned all the old songs. And it was just that was instead of TV and instead of, playing video games and that sort of thing. But our family was a very musical family. My dad played jazz guitar with Duke Ellington.
Yes.
So music was always part of my life, and I'm very honored and pleased to be part of it.
Well, we're just honored. I'm just honored to be in you all's presence for that particular night. A night of great stars and just great love shared amongst people. And a lot of people say, hey, Ken, you're a conservative, and some of these individuals are liberals, but that really doesn't make a difference in our life and in our society. What we are shooting for is love and peace. We can.
Yeah, love and peace, and here we are. We're actually, the way we look at it is as Iroquois people and the indigenous peoples who actually brought democracy to our Constitution.
Yep.
Looking at the Lady of Freedom on top of the Capitol. She's a Seneca woman, and that's one of our nations. That the women had such a powerful place, and it's a beautiful thing to think about the fact that we are responsible right now for 7 generations into the future. And every generation that follows us is responsible for another 7. So our children have a right to clean air, clean water, a wonderful place to live in peace and harmony. So together we can make a better world.
Yeah, exactly.
And can I say, Ken, again, can I jump in to say a word about Joanne?
Go right ahead.
Because Joanne stepped out of the limelight, so to speak, for nearly 2 years, I believe it was, to head up a commission to address the violence and the ill health of Indigenous children. And as everything Joanne does, she put her heart into it. And as a result of this labor of love, she actually became quite ill. Yeah. And Joanne is waiting an organ transplant. But like Martha, she has been so gracious, so generous. She's going to be making her way to Washington, D.C. The vision is that we will begin at the Native American Museum outside, perhaps by the mall. We'll lift up our voice in song. Everybody's welcome. Then we'll cross the street. That is the Smithsonian Institute. We'll cross the street and we'll walk singing towards the Capitol. Some words will be said about the Seneca woman who crowns the Capitol, as Joanne mentioned. We'll circle the Capitol singing. We'll start down on the mall towards the White House, where we'll formally begin at 6 o'clock with Martha, with Barbara Morrison, with Joanne, and others. So in the midst of all Joanne is bearing, health-wise.
Wow. And
we invite people, if they have the time and interest, to go to the website, which is www.electionevesongcircles, that's plural with an S, .us as in us. So once again, www.electionevesongcircles, once again with an s.us.us. And you can see more about Joanne's situation. And there's a GoFundMe campaign to raise funds for Joanne to support this transplant.
Wow.
And the courage so that she can keep not only serving the poor and the Indigenous children, but through her music and those who've heard her sing, this purity of tone, and the healing forces in her music. So that's just my own modest tip of the cap in gratitude for what Joanne is bringing us on behalf of her Oneida, Iroquois, and Native brothers and sisters to this evening.
Joanne, I just want one question before I go to the bishop. Is it possible that grandmothers, mothers who are listening tonight, and daughters, might say to themselves, I don't know how this will change my life. I'm going through stuff, and I'm angry and I'm upset with what's been happening in the political ventures of life. Is it possible that people can be changed through the music that they listen to?
Yes, all they have to do is open their arms, open their heart, open their mind, and we become one mind together, one. As united people, we stand, and as divided people, we fall. We all together can heal within and change the way we think about living life on this earth and make a difference to all those we come in contact with. And I am blessed, Martha. Again, I have to come back to you because I have been to Africa. I've sung and sat on the floor with the African indigenous women, the women from Australia, the women from South Korea, the women from Switzerland and Germany and Spain and everywhere around the globe. Women are uniting. They're talking about the purity of song, the purity of dance, and the just flat-out energy that it brings when we use kind words and good songs that lift the heart and soul.
I'm so proud to have a company that I represent whose music has allowed me the opportunity to sing with not just women, but the whole audience. We have music that's old enough for people to have learned the lyrics, and we really don't have to sing anymore. We just point the mic toward the audience and all the words and all the words of love and all the words of unity and all the words of just having a good time with music, with good feelings and just love expressed. So I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of all the DJs in the world. You get very little credit working on getting our disc jockeys inducted into the halls of fame, because had you not played our music, no one would ever have heard of us. Had you not spread the word and showed love and devotion toward us, we would never have made it to the point that we are now. So I want to thank you and all the wonderful people who have played our music and made us famous.
Wow. Well, listen, it didn't matter if I played it. Your voice and Joanne's voice is enough. Oh my God, you all are just tremendous, and all of you have made sacrifices in your life for the cause of bringing people together, and that is what's missing in America today. I want to bring on real quick Bishop John Bulinda. Bishop John is someone who has actually set the tone for what we're going to do on Monday night here in Washington, D.C. Bishop, if you would, tell us how you set the tone for the activities that are taking place.
Ken, thank you so much. First of all, I appreciate God and thank God for this opportunity to be part of this great move in Washington, D.C. on Monday the 7th. First of all, it's good to understand and to hear from different people how we are all braced up for this great day that is ahead of us. And I am part of an international team of intercessors that connects with foreign countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand. And during the national days of prayer, I always connect on the day of prayer with these countries on the prayer line, and we pray for all the 50 states as we pray for other nations of the world. So it's amazing how this particular year, it falls within a time that we are having elections coming up. But if you can be sensitive enough to see what's going on, you see there is a lot of divide and divisions that is coming. You can sense the spirit of hatred from some of the words that are being spoken.
Yeah.
So it means the nation needs to be healed. And that's why when you hear the speech, as Stuart Weeks said about with the people, is actually based on the very, very trend that Richard Graham, the son of Billy Graham, who has been going round to all the 50 states praying. The basis is 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then we'll hear from heaven, forgive their sins and heal their land. This land requires healing.
Yes.
Not just this land. Every person is hurting somewhere. So this occasion comes in the wake of a prayer project that I was part of, which just ended on the 31st of this month of October, where over 1 million intercessors were connected and they were praying for this nation. Well, it was a prayer guide that I received when I was in the intercessory international meeting in Indianapolis. We were there in September, October. And my main call is prayer. I'm a prayer warrior. I'm an intercessor. Back in Africa, I am a pastor of some two churches there, but the Lord brought me in this country in the year 2013, and basically I pray. I really pray, and I thank God that we can have this. And other than prayer, I blow the shofar. Now, the shofar is the key thing here because it's a musical instrument. It's those of you who know the Jews when they blow the shofar. It's a Hebrew instrument that is usually blown during the times of harvest, during the times of war. So it's a key instrument that will feature very prominently in Washington, D.C. on Monday the 7th, on the 7th. But I also need to let you know that right now I'm with Reeves here in Boston,
Yes.
Massachusetts. I came from New Hampshire, Concord, and I was in Vermont and Maine states. I'm going to all the capital cities, making declarations, praying, then blowing the shofar over the same issue. So I'm glad that the New England states, which of course we know them as those that are in the north, this is the Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Maine, and Vermont. This makes the New England. We are having all those visited, and I'll be able to go to the state capitals after blowing the shofar. The seventh one will take place on the 7th, and this is Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C., we know, is the capital seat of authority for this land. So what are we saying? We are saying, as the capital seat of authority, we are bringing our gifted voices. We are blowing the shofar at the same time. We are walking with strings and songs and dances as we are praying, seeking, and asking for peace to prevail in this nation. Every one time elections have taken place, not just here, but even back home in Africa, there is a lot of divide. People have been divided over political lines, party lines, and at the end of the day, elections are over. Life has to go on.
Yes.
But how do we go on with life when we have not built a scenario where we have brought peace back in the family, in the nation, in the government? So people need to understand that election comes and goes, but the nation remains. So individuals, when they have differences and then they have gone, and we definitely by 8th, we shall have a leader of this nation on the 9th of this particular month of November. So what are we saying on the 9th? What is going to happen if we have not brought preeminence of peace, if we have not put people to live together in harmony, if we have not brought a situation where our political differences don't continue lingering on? Because until we come to overcome that, it is an issue. And that's why when I was listening to my sister speaking and she was talking about music, we realized that through music, there is a lot of harmony.
Yes.
So we'll have a number of musicians coming from different places. I'll be there, and I believe some other shofar blowers will be there. I've invited a team of some of the intercessors I normally pray with. Some of them are in Delaware, others are in Maryland. Some will come from New Jersey. We are looking forward to come together as a team who are not only now interceding, but now blowing a voice, a sound in the heavenlies, to tell God that we need peace for this country, and not just this country, but the nations of the world. That's why if peace prevails in one nation, then we believe it can prevail in any other nation. So, Ken, that's why I'm upbeat about this day, and I can't wait for 7th of this month.
I'm excited as well. Listen, I want, if you would, Stuart, to give everybody the information that they need. For those who don't follow along as quickly, I'm going to direct you to the Exceptional Conservative Show Facebook page. You can get the information directly there. But can you tell everyone once again exactly what's happening in Washington, D.C., why they need to be there, whether they're listening to us on SHR Media, Red Nation Rising, or High Plains Pundit Media? Why should people be in Washington on November the 7th at 6 p.m.?
Jen, thank you. I'll give half the answer, then I'm going to pass it to an unsung hero, which is the webmaster for the site. I wish there was a feminine for that. And then Elizabeth Roosevelt Weeks, we were just married today, will give the other half of the answer.
Congratulations. May you have 100 years.
She's a gem. She's a gem. So half of the answer is we'll gather on the day before the election. So by election eve, we mean the evening before the election, to lift up our voices in harmony. And we'll gather at the Native American Museum, the Smithsonian Museum on the mall, and we may well be outside the museum, but that's our roots. These are our roots. Our roots are Native American, and we'll gather there, and with Joanne, we'll lift up our voices in song. Then we'll cross the mall, and we'll go the relatively short distance, singing and walking to the Capitol, where words will be said about the Seneca woman, one of the 5 nations of the Iroquois Confederation, who crowns the U.S. Capitol, who hardly anybody has noticed. Mm-hmm. Who is this figure? And Joanne and her husband, Doug George, the great Native American leader, will speak about the Seneca woman. Then we'll circle the Capitol singing, and we'll continue walking and singing down the mall to the White House to formally start the song circles of healing and renewal as planned at 6 p.m. So I'm going to pass the phone to Elizabeth. She can give the website address once again and maybe make reference to a number of the pages and give you a sense of what's been happening, also connected with the write-in campaign for We the People for President. So here's the phone for Elizabeth.
All right. And then after Elizabeth speaks, we're going to have the bishop pray and Thanksgiving. And I want to thank everybody for being with us. Go right ahead, Elizabeth. Congratulations on being a great bride.
I would just add briefly, I think the circles are growing, primarily around the United States. So my role has just been creating and maintaining the website, updating it, and also reaching out to people, contacting people where we thought that there might be interest, and that's been largely circles of singers, but also in various women's groups around the country, and we've received tremendous response. So the numbers are well over 100 now, primarily on the coast, along the East Coast and the West Coast, and little sprinkles throughout the middle of the country. The most recent circle that we have heard of is going to be in Belgium, so it's international as well. So the most recent one to join is in Ghent, Belgium. And as I said, well over 100 of them, still room to add more. So if folks are listening and would like to have a circle, it can be as simple as where 2 or more are gathered, can be in your own home, can be at your community center, or we certainly encourage people to go down to their town or city halls, to go to the state capitals if they're able to, or perhaps the biggest step and maybe most exciting, come to Washington if you're able.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so if you'd like to, for further information, where the circles are already happening, there's a map page. It says Map of Circles on the website, and also additional information about songs that we're gathering. So we're gathering suggestions from these leading singers, and we're posting those on the website. So again, the address for that is www.electionevesongcircles.us.
All right. And also, I forgot one person who was on the line. I want him to have some final words. Howie Comen of the Comen Detective Agency. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Howie?
Can I just briefly say we're going to do it again on Inauguration Eve. So it's Election Eve and then Inauguration Eve. So if people are feeling that it's too late, it's not too late. Please go to the website and join up, even if it's 2 or more in your own home.
All right. Perfect. Howie?
Kenny, I'm just kind of on here listening. Frankly, the reason why I checked in is I knew how excited you were. In case you fainted or something, I was going to take over your show.
Thank you, sir.
I basically have been quiet. But I do want to say 2 quick things. Joanne, you had talked about Kenny before. Most people take a tragedy like having a 27-year-old daughter murdered, and they go inward. Kenny and his wife went outward. He's involved in many programs to try and bring interfaith and racial harmony, in addition to what we're doing here with Stuart and the rest of you. So, Ken, who's hosting the show, he's very jovial. He's probably one of my biggest heroes. The second thing I want to say about this program, I'm Jewish. One thing that's attracted me has always been Joshua. And what I see happening here is the world is at war. Martha, you brought it up. Joanne magnificently. But what we're experiencing here is you're going back to Jericho. God told Joshua to put away the swords, put away the hatred, put away the killing, and go to the music. And they brought out the shofars, which the bishop has been blowing here in Charleston, and he's going to do the same up there in D.C. So what I see this as a total revolution for mankind. And you just listen to Martha, listen to Joanne. Look what Joanne's gone through. Stuart, the sacrifice. Elizabeth's been there the whole time. So basically what you people are developing and launching is a new way for humanity to react. Exactly. And you can see how fast it's catching on. So,
we have Don Bulinda sounding the note.
Okay, there we are. Listen, I want to give just tremendous accolades to Martha Reeves, Dr. Patch Adams, Joanne Shenandoah, as well, Elizabeth and Stuart for their work, the Weeks family for their work, Howie for your steadfastness. But I want to close this particular evening with Bishop John. And Bishop, there's some people who are not going to make it to Washington, but are stirred by what you've said and what others have said tonight, and they want peace in the land. Would you pray us into peace in the land, sir, in the final 2 minutes that we have?
Thank you so much. I'll make a short prayer and then I'll blow the shofar to release all that we have said into the atmosphere so that we shall be in one accord. Let's pray. Eternal Father, God of creation and love, we want to thank you this wonderful day, and we thank you for Ken and for his being the host of this wonderful time. We declare and decree that this is the time that you have allowed us to minister your word, and we believe that this is the moment of truth, that the nation is coming together as one. We are putting aside all our differences, and like Nelson Mandela in South Africa, when he came from the prison, he called all his people, and he told them, tomorrow, everybody bring your machetes, bring your ammunition, bring your guns, bring every weapon. And they all brought to go and fight against the spirit of apartheid and racism. And Mandela told them, throw all those weapons in the sea. And they were thrown in the sea. I do pray that people shall throw away their weapons of warfare and shall take flutes, keyboards, shofars, and instruments that shall praise God, clapping even with their hands, and not using their hands for murdering or killing, but this time God is going to release a new sound, a sound of harmony and peace through the blowing of the shofar, in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
So he's going out. Brother John will blow the shofar, Ken, if that's okay, outside.
That is fine. That is fine. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been one huge evening. May there be renewal and peace and healing in the land. And may the people of God turn back to him, that they may know truth and may be made free. Martha Reeves, Dr. Patch Adams, Joanne Shenandoah, Stuart and Elizabeth Weeks, Howie Comen, Bishop John, thank you all so much for making this a tremendous, tremendous hour of radio and television. God bless you all, and I will see you all in Washington in just a few days.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, I can stop broadcasting now. I've had all my heroes come. So that's it. We're done.
Special thanks to Ken. Special thanks to Ken.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with the great second half. We'll have Lonnie, and the Lonnie, the most handsome man in radio, Poindexter, and of course, none other than the Kraken himself, Ralph Chittams. What an awesome first hour. Oh, loving it. We'll be right back with more of the best and the most influential urban conservative talk show in America. Yes, it is the actually, we'll go with the world. Welcome to Sackheads Radio Night.
The best late night conservative talk show in America.
Thank y'all so much.
Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on some immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
The best late night conservative talk show in America. Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on some immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press, Live, Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
I am Paige, and I'm Ashley, and we're the sister duo behind the jewelry line Women Warriors by Stella Val. After we went to West Point and we served in the Army, we really wanted to get into the fashion industry. So we started designing our jewelry line Stella Val. We went on the show Shark Tank, and Mark Cuban and Lori Premier, our partners, encouraged us to start a line that spoke to our military background and women's empowerment. It was really important for Ashley and I to design a line with a really high quality. So the pieces are all brass with 18-karat gold plating or gold plating with Swarovski crystals. The Women Warriors line is all about inspiring women to be strong. All of the Women Warrior pieces have a military theme or an inspirational message. We hope that when you wear our jewelry, it reminds you throughout your day to stay positive and to go after your dreams and goals.
If you do not know your pin, please enter pound or hash.
Welcome to Lion Chasers, where faith and public policy intersect. And now, your Lion Chaser in the good fight of faith, Lonnie Poindexter, on Urban Family Talk.
We're not saying that there's not instances where there's maybe racial injustice somewhere. This is America, and people are human, and there's sin in the world. He's the president of first. He's the first president to say that America is not a Christian nation any longer. But we'll pray for our enemies while we defeat them.
You can't blame folks for messing up the city. There has not been an elected Republican in council in Baltimore City in over 50 years.
In the co-captain's chair with me today, Reverend Ralph Chittams. What's happened is the social justice movement has now been hijacked by a godless movement. Don't be bamboozled. Ladies and gentlemen, Frederick Douglass was a gun-toting conservative. It's not a black or a white issue. It's a God versus anti-God issue. And I know those would say, well, it's all rigged. It's all a game, Lonnie. I kind of get that a lot. I'm aware of the crew that has their bags packed at the train station waiting for Jesus to come back. We'll be here in a minute. On the train. No, it wasn't Jesus. But he's coming. Meanwhile, Rome is burning. The host of the Black Man Thinking radio show. Welcome to the show, Stanley. Good morning, Lonnie. How are you? The core issue the bird elephants are in the home. We got to do away with the entitlement programs and the things that hamstring us.
And that's where the conservative viewpoints really resonate for my generation.
I want to welcome to the show the host of the Exceptional Conservative Show, and that's my brother Kenneth McClinton. Welcome, brother.
Lonnie, it's an honor and privilege always to be with your ever-expanding audience.
Let your listeners be Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. If Lion Chasers sounds right for your station or network, contact Will Addison by email, waddison@afa.net. Encourage your listeners to be Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter and Urban Family Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was supposed to have Lonnie Poindexter on earlier. Welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialist. I am so glad you all are with me tonight. I had a wonderful opportunity. We spoke with Joanne Shenandoah. We spoke with Martha Reeves, Dr. Patch Adams, the Weeks, Elizabeth and Stuart, Howie, Comen, and Bishop John. Oh, man, the first hour was a totally awesome first hour. I'm asking right now, and forgive me, I do apologize to both Lonnie and Ralph as they try to call into the program. I want to have them both on at the same time so we can talk. What did Lonnie say? Here, Lonnie, just saw this. Sorry I missed my time slot. No call in now. My fault, Lonnie. It was my fault. And I just want to be honest with you. It was my fault. When you're sitting there and you're talking with Martha Reeves and Joanne Shenandoah and Patch Adams, I mean, sometimes you can get carried away. And I got kind of carried away. And I'm quite certain my boss in the chat roll will give me an out on this one. Do I get an out? All right. Ralph, are you with us? Is the Kraken with us right now?
The Kraken is here.
Oh my God! The Kraken's in the hizzy! Oh my... Kids, get back. Get away from the cage. We're going to release the Kraken right here. Right now, we're waiting for Lonnie to call in as well. First and foremost, tell everyone what you will be doing first thing tomorrow morning.
Well, I'm back in the hot seat. I'll be doing Roland Martin's TV show. There's one now on TV One starting at 7 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're an early riser, tune in. It should be fun.
7 a.m. Now, I teased you earlier about that, and I was wondering if Donna Brazil was going to hand you the questions before you actually show up on the program. Is that going to happen?
No. Usually one of the producers gets in touch with, the panelists the night before, and then they do give us, a rundown of the different segments, so that, if you're smart, you can at least do some homework and be prepared for what's going on. So they really don't do gotcha sessions. I'll give them credit for that.
Awesome. And we all commend you because of what you do on that program. You hold their feet to the fire. You give them hell. There's a quantity for it as the Kraken. As we wait for Lonnie Poindexter to call in at this point, and Shannon will also call in a little bit later on. I want to ask you, sir, have you ever seen an election like this one?
That's a yes and a no question.
Okay.
A yes and a no answer. One of the things I feel fun that really amuses me is how short people's memories are when it doesn't fit their particular narrative. You have Hillary Clinton and her sycophants running around saying that, Comey's letter, 8 days out from the election, it's unprecedented. And, this has never, ever been done before in the history of an election where, the legal system, the Justice Department has stepped in to try to influence an election. And everybody seems to forget that 4 days before the election, in 1992, Caspar Weinberger was indicted.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people could attribute H.W.'s law to Bill Clinton to that indictment, which was later found to be improper and withdrawn. So when they say, have I seen elections like this before? Well, yes, I have, because I'm a student of history and I pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it is an insane election, but there's nothing unprecedented about it.
Wow. Now, I want to ask you in this regard, because Mary Brockman is keeping a record of this, my bouncer in the chat roll. Whom do you expect to win the presidential election, and what is the percentile that each will receive?
I think Trump's going to win, and I think he's going to get probably close to 300 electoral college votes.
Woo! Landslide. What's the percentage of the vote?
I don't know what the percentage is going to be, because honestly, you have some places where the voting totals are down. So I don't know what the percentages are going to be, and in all truthfulness, the percentages don't matter.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I really, at this point, I still believe Trump's going to win, and I think he's going to get close to, if not more than 300.
Okay, so can we say 53% of the vote, popular vote?
Yeah.
All right.
That's a possibility, sure.
All right. So good. He says 53% for Trump, which would be what, 46% for Hillary, right?
Well, remember, you have those other 3 people running around the country just trying to create mischief.
Yes. Exactly. All right.
So that's why I say it's kind of hard to nail down a percentage. Because you have those other 3 running around just basically creating mischief. They have no chance of winning.
Exactly.
And the truth of the matter, and here's the funny part. We say that Trump could get 53, but the truth of the matter is Trump could win this thing with 46.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So, because we're keeping a record, what percent do you say he's going to get, and what percent will Hillary get?
I'll give Trump 51.
Okay.
And I'll give Hillary 46.
There you go, 51-46. Mary, write it down. Whoever wins gets an infused burger. All right, also on the line, the exceptional one. Now, without further ado, a man who is also in the hizzy right now, the most handsome man in radio, none other than Lonnie Poindexter. Good evening, sir. Okay, Lonnie Poindexter isn't here. All right. Oh! Is Lonnie there?
Oh, there he is.
I thought he was there. Okay. Next question for you then, Kraken. Vincent Gray came out today and said that Hillary Rodham Clinton is being ramrodded. And he understands what it's like for the FBI to come behind and jack up his election. What say you, sir, regarding Vincent Gray's comments regarding Hillary Rodham Clinton?
He needs to go back to his little house in Ward 7, sit down and shut up. Hillary Rodham Clinton is not being ramrodded. Everything that she is doing, she has done to herself. And this whole thing about, with Comen in the letter, excuse me if I don't feel sorry for her, but the fact that Bill Clinton used a similar situation to besmirch a good man in HW and win that election, for me, this is just the chickens coming home to roost. So Hillary just needs to suck up and take it, and Vince just needs to, take his little win in the Ward 7 council seat, do nothing like he did the last time, and let's all just go forward.
Now, of course, Vincent Gray was under investigation for 3 years with the FBI, and while everyone else went to prison, he didn't, which is amazing in and of itself. But D.C. Council should understand what Hillary's going through because of the amount of corruption that's involved. She's not being interrogated for emails only. We're talking about the Clinton Foundation, RICO issues, things of that particular nature. This woman's corrupt.
Right. And you have to love how the Democrats are spinning the narrative, because all they say is emails, but they don't dig down deeper and say, no, it's not the email, it's the content of the email. And I don't care if the Russians found it, I don't care if the Iranians found it, I don't care if the Martians, Klingons, or the Kardashians found it. If those documents that are released are true, that's all that matters.
Exactly. I believe we have on the line with us now Lonnie Poindexter, the most handsome man in radio. Is that true, Lonnie? We do not have Lonnie on the line, and Lonnie's not coming on the line. So there you go. Stop looking for Lonnie. Okay. All right, there we go. We'll stop looking for Lonnie at this point. All right. So, with that said, there are a lot of things that are coming down the pike with the polls changing and things of that particular nature. The election looks like right now Donald Trump is going to win by a landslide. But there are things that Donald Trump is saying right now that might draw some ire. One of which is the expansion of child care credits and other things to supposedly women or whatever, and growing the government somewhat. Are you confident that this man will be able to reduce the national debt, reduce the deficit, cut taxes without overspending?
That's what Congress is for.
Bingo.
People put way too much hope, in the office of president. Now, granted, the president does have power, and he does have certain powers that he dare not use. But we still have a legislature.
Yeah.
And if people are smart and they vote down ballot and they return Republicans to the Hill in the House and the Senate, then we can hope for some fiscal restraint. But we said, you and I have had this discussion before, for most of Trump's life, he was a New York liberal.
Yeah.
So he had those tendencies.
Now,
we just have to be honest about that and just hope that, the people around the country are, smart enough to vote down ballot to return Republican conservatives to Congress, who can then hold the president's feet to the fire, with the power of the purse.
Now, I want to talk with you about Walter Reed, the U.S. Army facility that has now been turned over to the district government. There were proposals for economic development on that portion of Georgia Avenue, but I wanted to get your comment, your thoughts on what should happen with Walter Reed Hospital.
Well, now that the district government owns it, they'll probably turn it into a dog park.
They probably will. Oh my God! That huge section of property in Washington, D.C., is it too much for us to presume that that's not where Mayor Bowser will be putting affordable housing?
Oh, no, she's not going to put affordable housing on that block. Trust and believe that is not going to happen. No, it's they'll put in a what they call a mixed-use development. They'll try to bring in a decent retailer, Whole Foods or something, and then have market rate, condos and apartments. At best, that's what they'll do.
Exactly. Want to talk with you about what came out today in the Urban Institute report, the color of wealth in the nation's capital. And apparently what we're finding out is that the color of money, green, has preference for the color of skin. And it appears that the net worth of white households in the District of Columbia is $284,000, while the net worth of black households is $3,500, and the net worth of Hispanics is $13,000. Now, is it a racial thing as to why white people happen to be more wealthy in a city that is predominantly black?
No, this has to do with education and transition. And what I mean by transition is most of the white people that you're talking about are not born and raised Washingtonians.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who come here to work here. The black people that you are referring to are long-term residents, 3, 4, 5 generations who have come through an educational system which has purposely mis- and undereducated them so that they are incapable of making those sorts of strides in the D.C. economy.
Yeah.
So no, it has nothing to do with race, but it has everything to do with education and mobility.
Now, Asian Americans have a net worth of, if East Asian Indians at least, have a net worth of $573,000. Koreans have a $496,000 net worth, and Chinese have a $220,000 net worth. Is that simply because we've been taught that we have to go to school and get a good job, a good government job, while others say, screw that good government job, you need to go out there and create your own businesses, thus creating your own jobs?
Well, that's a part of it, but also the other communities that you're talking about, they do place a premium and an emphasis on education. You're not going to go into a Korean family's home and hear them saying, I'm not going to go to school and learn because that's what the white man does. You'll hear that ignorance, in certain segments of the black community. So, part of it is that there is a reverence for education in certain cultures that has been bred out of other cultures.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the entrepreneurial piece is also huge because there was a time when the African American and the black community, entrepreneurship was the only way you could provide for your family.
Exactly.
But we have been trained, because Big Daddy government came in, and I'm not what I'm about to say. I don't want people to take it the wrong way. Big Daddy government came in and gave us the Civil Rights Act, he gave us the Voting Rights Act, and so Big Daddy government became Big Daddy, and so we were trained to always look to government to be Big Daddy, and so it makes sense. You get a job working for Daddy.
Now, do you think it's fair?
We're both entrepreneurial.
Exactly. But do you think it's fair what the Urban Institute did in this report? They blamed, while Asians who came from tremendous, oppression from communist regimes overseas, and came here and created businesses and things of their own to economically improve their well-being. For some odd reason, black people can't get over slavery in this country, and that's the reason that black people are so poor. Is that it?
That's a portion of it. Clearly, because we have been trained to look backwards all the time and to find fault, and instead of just, even if you're in the worst situation whatever, sometimes you just have to put your head down and just barrel forward.
Yes.
And we basically have been trained. You know, we go for the dog whistle every time. You know, this whole election cycle is about dog whistles. The most recent dog whistle is this church in Mississippi that somebody burned.
Yeah.
And somebody wrote on the side of the church, vote Trump. Well, for the emotional liberals, that's all they need as further proof that, see, those racist white people, they're out to get us, they're burning down our churches. There's no proof that it was done by a white person, let alone a Republican or a Trump supporter. And if the truth be told, I think it was probably done by a black liberal, understanding that he's going to be able to use this as a dog whistle to excite black folks to go out and vote for Hillary Clinton.
Now, you hit on a key point there, because I heard earlier in the week that something's going to come up, and we're talking with the Kraken, Ralph J. Chittams Sr., for the final question for the hour. There was someone who said that sometime this week there would be a white cop that shoots a black person or something to take everyone's eye off of Donald Trump at this particular moment, railroading or just rolling over Hillary Rodham Clinton. So I have to ask you, sir, are we looking for a November surprise from Hillary Rodham Clinton? And does it even matter, because we're almost at Thursday, does it even matter what she does from this point on?
The clock is really getting short for her to turn this thing around. But, you know, people always talking about, you know, something coming up in the last 2 days of the election.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing that came up that had any sort of impact, you know, in the last 2 days of this election seems to have been Anthony's wiener.
Oscar Mayer would be very proud.
Who would have thought that would have been what took her down?
Hey, but she's been taken down by... I can understand her feminism, because it's always been men who brought her down. Nixon...
Started on that foolishness. with Barack Obama lecturing men that if we don't vote for Hillary Clinton, it's because we're sexist. Excuse me, Mr. President, if we're sexist because we're not voting for Hillary Clinton, what the heck does that make you when you ran against her? You must be the biggest sexist on the face of the earth.
Or when people voted for him. Were we racist?
Exactly. This is the foolishness. This is the emotionalism that comes out of the left that people with critical thinking skills listen to, and we go, this fool is an idiot. But people fuck themselves up like Pablo, and then they go vote Democrat.
Bingo. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kraken. We have to place him back in the cage. And I'm sorry your time was shorter this evening. We will have a longer period of time next week on the 9th for the election, the day after the election. But can you tell everyone where they can turn to for news and information and commentary from one of the brightest men in conservative politics?
Reach out to me on Facebook and Twitter social media. I'm under my name, RJCHITTAMSSR, Ralph J. Chittams Sr.
Thank you, sir, so much. And we will be watching tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. News 1. It's TV News 1, right?
It's News 1 now with Roland Martin, and the cable channel is TV 1.
Bingo. TV1, we will be watching you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
I'll try to be entertaining.
You will definitely be entertaining. God bless you, sir. We'll talk to you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kraken has gone back into the cage. Next Wednesday night will be a big Wednesday night. It will be after our SHR. Thank you. Thank you very much. It will be after. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking forward to none other than Shannon Wright to join us in just a few moments. Hopefully she will be calling in right about here so I can get rid of that music. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What a huge night the first hour was. Great call, Ralph. Everyone in the chat room was saying. Let me try to get Shannon in here now. All right. Here we go. Come on, Shannon. All right, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. You can go, ladies and gentlemen. Someone is running for election in Baltimore City. Baltimore City City Council. Shannon Wright. We're hoping that we can get her on the air. Tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, big news just being reported. Cheryl Mills has lost immunity. She's lost immunity and could be prosecuted for perjury. Cheryl Mills, the latest victim of WikiLeaks, the latest victim of Miss Huma Abedin. I suppose that you all know now that immunity is going to be taken from every single one of them. Okay, we're going to get rid of the mute music. Okay. There we go. We're going to get rid of that. Okay, I just can't deal with that. I can't. That's too much mood. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in and listening tonight to the most influential urban conservative talk show in America. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk in our commercial-free period of our program. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this has just been a very, very exciting night, and I am very, very happy to be a part of it.
Hi everybody, it's Kristen. I'm here to review women's spirits made by dogs. I love these shoes. I am an FM sufferer, so finding shoes that don't make my feet hurt is very tough. These don't make my feet hurt. I've tried Pumas, I've tried Nikes. Nikes are pretty good. Pumas I can't wear. They hurt my feet too much. I mean, it's to the point to where my feet hurt so bad to where I can't even walk. So I was so happy whenever I was contacted to review the new dogs. I love these dogs. I love these things. My feet don't hurt when I wear them. They got the holes in them to keep my feet cool. They got massaging bumpies inside. Feels like you're walking on little things of foam. I mean, like, it's just awesome. I just love it. The heel is a deep well down in your heel, and it protects. It's a shock absorber. So if you're running in them or jumping in them, like if you're on a trail and you have to jump in them, it absorbs the shock. What else? And then it's a higher thing back here for your heel. So it's like a really high thing that protects your ankle from when you're running, so there's no injuries, so it doesn't cause injuries. Velcro, so it's very easy to tighten your shoe, so whenever you're running, your shoe won't fall off when you're trying to run. I love these shoes, and I hope you guys really appreciate this review. And there will be pictures at the end, like always. But I wish you would guys go check them out. These women's spirits are $40. There's a whole bunch of other kind of shoes that you can purchase as well. There are children's shoes, toddler shoes, infant shoes, men's shoes, women's shoes. Anything you can think of, they got it. And they're pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you next time.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more to get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe, Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. It's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
With home values up and interest rates near all-time lows, you probably know that now is a great time to refinance, like the Johnsons, who saved $436 a month.
$436 a month?
It's simple. Just go to lendingtree.com, compare loan offers for free, and see how much you could save in just 5 minutes.
I thought you said the bank gave you the best rate.
Yeah.
LendingTree. When banks compete, you win.
I have to do everything myself.
Someone is sleeping on the couch tonight.
Is your PC causing major headaches? Now there's an easy way to make your computer run like new again. Introducing System Mechanic, America's #1 PC performance software. System Mechanic scans your entire PC for over 200 different types of errors. It then automatically fixes even the most stubborn and frustrating PC problems, restoring full speed and stability in minutes. Visit runlikenew.com to try it free.
Aloha, I'm here at the Hawaii Coffee Company at the Lion Cafe. Let's go get some brew and get educated. All right, we're here at the Hawaii Coffee Company Museum, and I got Sam here. Tell us about Lion Coffee and how did it get into Hawaii?
Well, the Lion Coffee founder, Jim Delano, before Lion Coffee in Hawaii existed, bought the old Hawaiian Electric building downtown. And his idea was to build a cafe kind of like on a bohemian model to invite artists and musicians and have this really cool place to hang out and drink coffee. But once he refurbished the building, he didn't have any coffee, and he had to find out where he was going to get the coffee from. He discovered this trademark, Lion Coffee, established in 1864.
Wow.
And we're standing right in front of a case of all this old paraphernalia. This is how he discovered the brand, and he was intrigued by it. He did some research and tried to contact the company, see if he could buy some coffee, but Lion Coffee was no longer roasting. And so he found the descendants from the owner of Lion Coffee and managed to buy the trademark. And so basically, Lion awoke in Hawaii, and we started roasting here.
Wow, that sounds like you guys had the concept and the idea before Starbucks.
Yeah, that's right. The only thing is we didn't go international, but we do sell internationally, and our focus on our business in Hawaii is the most popular coffee in Hawaii.
Of course. Mahalo, Sam. Go to hawaiicoffeecompany.com and get more cool information about Lion Coffee Roasters and Hawaii Coffee Company where we're filming this video. They have a great free tour of the roasting facility, and you can check out all their highly sought after coffees.
is Jersey Joe, a Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. It's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
The best late night conservative talk show in America, TECS Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than TECS Sean and TECS Clint. And we're working on some immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk, TECS Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
You have reached the non-commercial part of the Exceptional Conservative Show live from Washington, D.C. We're ready to kick it, baby.
Everybody shake your body. We don't feel, we chill at a party with food that's sensual, three-dimensional, unquestionable.
Welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are certainly not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialists. Yeah, that was Heavy D and the boys. We got our own thing, and we got our own thing right here with none other than the beautiful and vivacious Shannon Wright, who's running for president.
Good evening.
Good evening. Running for president of Baltimore City Council. Did you hear earlier I had Martha Reeves on? And I had Patch Adams on. I'm sorry. This interview is about you.
You're just doing the thing, aren't you?
I'm just doing my own thing. Okay. Joanne, Shenandoah, it was real big, real big. Ladies and gentlemen, please spread this show around because we want a lot of people in Washington, D.C. the evening of the pre-election evening. Lady President, can we call you Lady President yet?
No, not quite. Let's give that a little more time.
Just a little bit? Okay, we'll give it just a few more days, but congratulations to you for your great work. And quite frankly, there are many people who said that you wouldn't have made it this far.
This is true.
Okay. Why are you so successful?
Because God is still in control.
Bingo. Bingo. I like that answer. Can you tell everyone why they should be excited for you coming down the home stretch?
Well, we're almost there. We're almost done. My God is a God of victory. So I know that regardless to the vote count, we are already victorious. We have more candidates on the ballot in Baltimore City this year than we've had in years. We've had more activity. There are other candidates that have come to me and said, you know what, regardless to how November 8th turns out, that November 9th is either their start of their next attempt or their re-election. And that they're in it to see our community, our city, Baltimore, change for the better. And the fact that I got to be a part of that is just awesome.
Wow, it is awesome to have been included in that particular process with you, to see you on the down days, the up days, and the ugly days. And you're coming towards the end. You're about 4 or 5 days away from becoming president of the Baltimore City, not county, Baltimore City Council. What does that job entail exactly?
It entails making sure that the 14 representatives of the individual districts in the city actually play together nicely in the sandbox and can move legislation forward in an orderly and fiscally responsible manner to handle the people's business. That's what it entails.
That's what it entails. Have they been successful before you?
Absolutely not.
Why have they failed so often?
Because I really don't think that was a priority. I don't think doing the people's business was the priority. You know, there are different schools of thought on what is the people's business and how things should be done, but clearly the school of thought that has been in City Hall for several years now is not working. So it's time for Jack Young to hit the road, Jack.
There you go. Now, the last time you spoke with, a few weeks ago, you told us that there was a poll that said that you were at about 36, 35% going
somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. Have there been any new polls that show exactly where you are in comparison to Jack Young?
Well, I'm told that I am in the low 40s and he is in the high 40s, no longer above 50.
Wow. So literally, at this point, knowing that many Democrats, especially in the black community, and I want to ask you about that first and foremost. What is the excitement for Hillary Rodham Clinton in the black community, especially in Baltimore, and how will that impact your race?
There's no excitement. There's no excitement. I'm just there really isn't. This election cycle has been, it's just been over the top in a lot of different ways. So, you know, you don't really see excitement. And then with the last news cycles, with things still trickling out here and there and everywhere, that excitement there might have been dwindled to almost nothing.
Wow. So is it possible that the suppression, well, it's not really a suppression because no one's forcing people not to vote, besides Democrats. There's nothing to vote for at this point besides someone who may be in an orange suit a day after the election. But if there's no one of excitement, does that hurt you in your race?
No, I don't think so. Because regardless of what goes on the national level, we still have more than enough issues and problems to resolve on a local level. And I think here in the city, that's really where people's focus is. You know, I appreciate what's going on the national level, but what are we doing here? You know, what's going to happen right here?
Exactly.
You know, and that's what we need to focus on.
Now, unemployment's rising in Baltimore. We just got the ADP numbers earlier today that showed, actually, the last month, there was an expectation that there would be over 200,000 jobs created, and that didn't happen. In fact, it was less than 170,000 jobs, and that's going to be revised downward on Friday by the Department of Employment or Bureau of Labor. We know right now ADP's result today was they were expecting 170,000 new jobs to be created and less than 150. In fact, 147,000 new jobs were created across the country, which is abysmal, which means that the new numbers that come out on Friday are going to be even worse. You're seeing unemployment rise dramatically as the economy is slowing down. What proposals do you have to change all that?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't look at unemployment as just a number, because each time that number changes, it affects families and communities and neighbors. You know, it's people. So I think we really have to, in the city, look at legislation, look at policies that really promote business growth. Not inflate the size of the actually promote individual business growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the way we get those numbers trending in the other direction.
What are some of those policies that you would want the council to implement?
Well, there is one thing that someone had mentioned to me that I think is really an interesting idea. They proposed that I look at, and we're actually going to put something out on it later on tonight, a ticket amnesty. That Baltimore has a huge surplus of abandoned and empty homes.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept is that you work to help rehab some of those houses to get them back on the tax rolls in exchange for forgiveness against some of your tickets.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I think that doing that, you expose folks to new trades that they may not have thought that they were qualified for. They're getting training. They're getting rid of their tickets, and the city gets properties back on the tax rolls that are then usable for families that are looking for a place to live.
Wow. Now, in terms of taxes, do you believe taxes and regulation changes are necessary in Baltimore in order to make it easy for jobs to be created?
Well, it's sometimes very difficult to redo taxes in terms of the political structure and the way that you have to go about doing it. But certainly something I think we should look at is just like when you read the newspaper and different weeks there's a sale flyer in there with coupons for different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I certainly think that's something we should explore, where some of the nuisance fees or small fees that prohibit business owners that, the first week of November, this fee, that fee, and the other fees will be waived for new businesses registering to start up in the city. And to do something along those lines so that people get immediate savings in their pocket and then create a business that brings immediate revenue into the city.
Wow. Now, in terms of education, because you have kids who are going to school in Baltimore and there are no air conditions in there and no heat. We're going to go to winter in their buildings. What do you do in terms of that?
Ideally, I would do something that is very, I'm not sure if either party would particularly care for, but what I would do is I would appeal to the private sector to actually step in and help the city get at least the structure, the buildings themselves, up to a standard that every parent would want their children to be in. It's very difficult to expect a child to learn and to excel when they're hot, or they're cold, or they're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there are certain basics that really need to be addressed, regardless of how they need to be addressed. You have to have an expectation that your child is going to go to school and learn. So you have to make sure the conditions are correct for that to happen.
Awesome. We're talking tonight with Pastor Shannon Wright. She is running for president of the Baltimore City Council. She is in lockstep as we go down the stretch with the people of Baltimore. They want change. They want something new. They want something better than what they have. You started out your campaign with a premise that really shook up many people who listened to you, and that was this idea about doing an audit. In the following minutes, can you explain to people exactly whether that would be your first thing to do, and then exactly what would you do in terms of an audit?
Well, an audit would certainly be high on my priority list. And it's a necessary thing. It's sometimes it's a necessary evil. And because it's been so long that a proper and complete audit was done, it might be on the evil side. But it's necessary. It's kind of like in your home finances. You can't decide, okay, I'm going to Europe for 3 weeks. But you haven't checked to see what your bank balance says. Because your bank balance says you might just be going to the corner mall.
Yeah.
So you can't know what you can do without knowing what you have.
Exactly. Exactly. So would that be the first call of duty for you as president of the city council?
Actually, my first call would be to require every council person to take out their calendar and pick 2 dates for 2 nights every month for the next year that they would actually be in their district. So during election cycles, you see everybody.
Yeah.
After election day, you see nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So my first call would be to require the individual district council people to schedule 2 days a month, 2 evenings, where they would do town halls in their districts the entire year, twice a month. That would be the first call.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't say you're elected to represent people when you don't know what the people want.
Exactly.
And in order to assist in that accountability and transparency, you have to still keep that connection with the people that put you in office. So that would be my first call to action.
Wow. Now, you're coming down to the stretch. You're in the last days. Can people help you at this point?
Oh, they sure can, absolutely. You can go to wrightformaryland.com, which is WRIGHTSORMARYLAND.com, and sign up for our email and also make a donation. This last stretch, we are trying to boost our availability to do, or accessibility to do radio, and other print marketing and digital media and all that sort of thing, to really make sure that the voters know they have a choice. They don't have to vote the way they've been voting.
Yeah.
And that they shouldn't vote the way they've been voting. So we have to make sure we leave no stone unturned in getting that message to the voters of Baltimore City.
Shannon, Wright, what can they do to get in contact with you directly?
You can reach me on Facebook. You can send me a message, inbox me, Shannon Wright for Baltimore, or my personal page, which is Pastor Shannon Wright on Facebook. You can send me a message on Twitter, the letter P, the letter S, W, the number 4, and the letter U, which is Pastor Shannon Wright for you at Twitter.
There we are, ladies and gentlemen, none other than the beautiful and brilliant Shannon Wright for president of the Baltimore City Council, and we are going to do our very best to get her on. Well, this is the last time we hear from you before the election. God bless you. I hope that you win.
Thank you, and thank you for all that you've done in that vein. I really appreciate it.
Well, I just want my brownies. Thank you so much for coming. Shannon Wright, go to Wright for Maryland. Help her win on Tuesday night. She's really, really close, and it looks like with the news, and stay tuned. Stay in the chat room, because I'm about to give breaking news that will probably be picked up in the next hour by Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, and Sir Mark the Bloviating Zeppelin. Okay, and it will impact your race, ma'am. In fact, stay right where you are. Let me give you the news at this particular juncture. According to sources within the Federal Bureau of Investigation, it looks as if an indictment against Hillary Rodham Clinton will be coming regarding the Clinton Foundation. That news is breaking as we speak right now. The reports indicate that a lot of the information came directly from Anthony Weiner's phone. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, based on the news that we have, it looks now that things may change. They may not go through with it. I don't know. But based on the news that's being reported right now, FBI sources are saying that Hillary Rodham Clinton will be likely indicted, and it will not be for emails. It will be for the Clinton Foundation, ladies and gentlemen, racketeering charges. So there you go. Bad news for Democrats. Good news for Republicans.
Wow.
Okay, so stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. This story is getting murkier the closer we get. And also, we've got news tonight from the Federalist Papers that Bernie Sanders has dropped her and stepped away from the Hillary Rodham campaign. So a lot of things are in motion as we speak. Pick it up at Sackheads Radio, coming up right now on Sackheads Radio and High Plains Pundit Media. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening tonight. If you don't remember anything I told you tonight, remember this, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America. Now it's time for America to bless God. We'll see you tomorrow night. New Day Black and Red. God bless. Good night, Shannon. Bang, bang, bang. Got our own thing. Great weapons, in the corner, people sitting down and hide as much as they can possibly get. Feel I'm laughing, feeling like a champion. Push up on a cutie phone, digits on stamps on the face, back though, stuff like an Oreo. Everybody broke for a heavy deep video, put it in stereo. People said, here we go, Julie down the front and said, heavy, you're my hero. Understand this, before you make a comment, there's always a meaning in a heavy deep statement. In this life, I strive for improvement. Be your own God, follow your own movement. Love is a legend, be a legendary at it. Flipping on the mic makes me a rapper acrobat. Don't try to swing, you didn't even hang. Hey, we got our own thing.